Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, Washington, D.C.'s oldest resident, Willie Mae Avery, just turned 110.
Tony Kornheiser. She was 2 years above me in high school. I remember her well. I think she was one of the cheerleaders. I think. I'm not sure. Football team.
I'm going back.
Yeah, cheerleader.
Born in
team.
1915.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
great.
110.
It's a long time. It's a long time, 110. I'm close. I don't know that I want to get there, though. It's a long time. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Knicks try to stay alive. The Panthers make it back to the Stanley Cup final, and PK Subban joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Oklahoma City Thunder overwhelming Minnesota right from the start last night, building a 30-point lead in the second quarter and cruising to a series-ending win. The Thunder are the second youngest team ever to reach the NBA Finals, behind only the 1977 Bill Walton Trailblazers. Wilbon, what do you see when you watch the Thunder?
I see a team, Tony, that looks damn near like a championship team. I mean, I know they got to finish it, and you don't want to take anything for granted. That would be completely arrogant if they felt that way. And they're going to have the Pacers or Knicks, seems like the Pacers next, a worthy opponent. But Oklahoma City looks formidable. They are dominant at times. To hold, the Timberwolves to last year's conference finalists to 9 points in the first quarter, and it's the way they're doing it. They are smothering them with defense. They're basically daring Minnesota to do the things that Minnesota's done somewhat successfully the last 2 years, daring Anthony Edwards, daring Julius Randle, and it's working. It's bold. Yeah. It's creative. It's flexing, and you look at them. And you just go, okay, we need to move on now to the next thing. And, of course, we are moving on to the next thing. But, Tony, I've been around long enough to have been around some young championship teams that featured the likes of Kobe and Shaq, and Steph and Clay and Draymond. I've been around them at the beginning. This, to me, is resembling that. And things can unravel it. An injury, contract squabbling, things can happen. But right now, where we sit coming off last night, that's what it resembles to me.
Yeah, this comes as no surprise to me at all. They've been a monster at home all season. They were 35-6 at home in the regular season, 8-1 at home during the playoffs. They got beat pretty bad in Game 3, right, by Minnesota, and they came back right away, and they won Game 4 and Game 5 without any problem. And as you say, they held Minnesota 9 points as a joke in the NBA in a conference finals. 9 points in the first quarter. What are we talking about here? They won 19. They're better than Minnesota. They won 19 more games in the regular season than Minnesota. And I know how much you love Anthony Edwards, but he had another, and I stress another, lackluster game last night. He had 19 points. That's 8 below his season average. In 3 of these games, he's been in the teens. He's their best player. You can't score in the teens. He was 1 of 7 for 3. In Minnesota's 4 losses from 3, he is 6 of 31. That's 19%. Afterwards, Edwards said nobody was going to outwork him next year. And I thought to myself, I don't really know what you're talking about. Nobody said you didn't work hard. They're a better team, and they figured out how to defend you. They figured it out. They're good. They're real good.
Tony, you're right. That's a great point about the work. He's going to have organizational help. He's going to have some realizations. At 23, there's time to do that. But Oklahoma City, he better be careful. He and everybody else, because they can lap you. If you don't get it together and somebody wins a championship and really starts to explore how great they can be, other folks, Minnesota, can be in trouble.
I'll just say this very quickly. I'm going to give credit to Minnesota. They made a big trade. They still got back to the conference finals. But they need something more. And you know who's out there? Kevin Durant's out there. Kevin Durant could get them to the top.
Good point.
Let's go to the one remaining NBA series, the Pacers and the Knicks tonight. And Wilbon, you are in New York for this. The Pacers lead the series 3-1. They've won both games in Madison Square Garden. Karl Anthony Towns has a left knee contusion. He is questionable for tonight's game. Towns is New York's second leading playoff scorer. He's averaging 26 in the series. Wilbon, do you like the Knicks' chances of forcing a Game 6?
Tony, less. When I look on the screen and see Karl Anthony Towns limping like that, And all credit to Karl Anthony Towns for getting back up and staying on the court in Game 4. And you know he's going to try to play tonight. He's gonna go out there. But Tony,
Sure.
they're having enough trouble when whole and relatively healthy keeping up with Indiana. As a matter of fact, they can't really keep up. It's like it's a track meet, and they're out there against Usain Bolt. And then if Karl Anthony Towns is limping, I mean, the Knicks are already vulnerable defensively. And if he is not at his best, whatever that is, they're going to be really in trouble defensively. So he's their second best player, second most important player all the way around. I want to see the Knicks, extend this series. I love the conference playoffs. I'd like to see more basketball. But the way the Pacers are going, it's hard to really see the Knicks putting together the kind of effort that's going to extend this series.
This is a different Michael Ray Wilbon than I saw a couple of weeks ago. When you first got to New York City, you were so excited. You were all around the basketball. Everything you heard, everything you saw was about the Knicks, and you felt that energy from the Knicks.
Yep.
I know that I said on this show yesterday that there were 4 series remaining in hockey and basketball, and I thought only one of them could get to a Game 6, and I thought it was the Knicks could force that to happen, and I still think that, but I have eyes. I have seen the playoffs to this point. Indiana is better, just by a little, but they've been better in the same way that Tyrese Halliburton has been a little better than Jalen Brunson. There's some numbers here to run. Indiana has won 6 straight playoff games in a row on the road. This game is on the road. They're 13-3 overall in the playoffs. The only game they ever lose is Game 3. This is Game 5. So like I say, I'd love to see the Knicks win, but intellectually, I sort of feel that it's Indiana's series at this point. I will differ from you in this regard. If somebody said, why would you like the Knicks? I would say Jalen Brunson's, because he's really tough and he's fearless. And they would say, well, Karl Anthony Towns might not play or may be diminished. That's going to hurt them. And I would say, I'm not so sure about that. Because if you put all the pressure on Brunson, I think he might respond. The one bet I would make tonight is that Thibodeau will play Brunson 44 to 45 minutes, if not more than that. If not more than that.
Yeah, but Tony, I just worry that they're worn out. I hear you, because we got those plus-minus numbers that suggest the Knicks do better with one or the other off the court. I don't think that's going to apply, but we'll see shortly.
Okay.
I had hope for the Hurricanes last night, too. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Panthers. I had the remote in my hand. I clicked away. I clicked over to the basketball. And when I checked back, about 4 minutes later, they were down 3-2 en route to a 5-3 loss. Florida now returns to the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd consecutive season. The defending champs reacted like they won a midseason game. Tony, what do you make of how the Panthers won and how little they marked the achievement?
You and I had this conversation earlier today. Like you, I was watching on television. Then it was 1-0 Carolina. Then it was 2-0 Carolina. And Carolina was playing at home. And I said to myself, ooh, you went out on television and you picked Florida. You look like a dope. But then I remembered what our friend Bernie Wolf, the goalie, had said, that the most dangerous lead to have in hockey is a 2-0 lead. And then I went to the basketball, and I came back, and like you, it was 3-2 at that point. I felt that I could exhale and I could stop writing my note of apology. Look, how did they win this? Florida won this honestly like champions. They were down 2-0 on the road to a team that was 6-0 when it had scored the first goal in the playoffs. You come back on that one, Mike, then that has the pedigree of a champion as far as I'm concerned. Florida now, 23-10 on the road in the last 3 playoff seasons. And not coincidentally, they're in the Stanley Cup for the 3rd straight time. They beat Carolina in these games 21-10. Again, 3rd straight time. This is odd to me because there was a run like this recently. Tampa Bay made it. In the last 6 years, there's always been a Florida team. Not a Florida man, but a Florida team in the Stanley Cup final. How do you explain that? How do you explain that from a warm weather site?
Well, Florida and Carolina, I mean, they're all over the Stanley Cup Conference Finals and final. And look, Tony, we're talking about, 2 dominant performances last night, even though, 5-3 may not sound dominant. As you just said, it was dominant what Florida did, being down 2 goals on the road in that game. They are where Oklahoma City seems to be entering. There's a door that says champion over the Florida Panthers, and the Thunder seems to be wanting to just walk right through that to get to the point where they can flex like this too.
Kick it
home
down.
or road, and
like
particularly on the road, just go and knock
kick it down.
you out.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Just for 10 seconds, they didn't celebrate at all. Why exactly would they celebrate? This is a stop along the way for them. This is a staging area. They don't care about this trophy. They didn't touch it. They want the other trophy, the big one. Let's take a break.
Do it.
Coming up, where are these Panthers vulnerable? We're going to ask PK Subban.
We're also going to ask him how the Oilers might be impacted by the loss of Zach Hyman.
I was 2 for 2 last night, Wilbon. But I was sweated out the hockey. I did. Sweated out the hockey.
It was 2-0. I was ready to, start hugging and kissing Carolina. Not so fast.
Basketball was like 19-7 after the first 4. Let's dig back into the Stanley Cup playoffs with our great friend, ESPN hockey analyst PK Subban. Let's start with this. The Florida Panthers looked absolutely dominant against the Hurricanes. But tell me, where exactly are they vulnerable?
Where they're vulnerable right now is the fact that they're going to their 3rd Stanley Cup final. You have to think that they're a little bit tired and worn down, but this team doesn't look like they're slowing down. Honestly, it doesn't look like their energy's anywhere but where it needs to be going into the Stanley Cup final. They look like the best team in the league and Stanley Cup champions. You want to ask me where their weakness is? Go through their defense. Maybe you see one there. In net, you ain't seeing one there, and you're definitely not seeing one up front. And in every category, every facet of the game of hockey, you heard Rod Brindamore say it, this team is the standard now in the National Hockey League. So I don't see a weakness right now with the Florida Panthers.
Wow. PK, that leads me to wonder this. Do you think this team is as good as the team that won it all last year? Better? I mean, how do they compare in your mind?
At the beginning of the year, I said to myself, there's no way how are they going to get better? How are they going to keep all of these guys? And, they let a couple guys go, some depth players, Stenlund and, Lamborghini there on the 4th line. But they go and get a guy like Brad Marchand. And people want to say he's aging. Does Brad Marchand look like he's aged? I'm sorry. At times, he's looked like the Florida Panthers' best player. He's playing on their 3rd line, guys. So, you look at Seth Jones. An upgrade from Oliver Ekman-Larsson, of course, because of his age. The fact that he can lug minutes. He looks like a new player out there. So I have to say the Florida Panthers are in a better position than they were last year. Luosterainen's a year older. Lundell's a year older. Barkov is healthy. Matthew Tkachuk now, who missed most of the season, is healthy. They're in a better position. And Bobrovsky, when is he going to slow down? He's still bobbing and weaving. So I think the Florida Panthers are in a better position than they were last year going into the Stanley Cup. And by the way, they get that series done in 5 games. So they get some time to rest. Unbelievable job.
Well, the Oilers are hoping to do that as well. Oilers Stars tonight, Game 5. What exactly does Edmonton lose with the absence of Zach Hyman, PK?
A leader in the locker room and a physicality on the ice. We can talk about him being a 50-goal scorer and what he brings to their power play, but they got guys that can put the puck in the net. It's the physicality and the leadership and the experience for me. This is a huge loss to the Edmonton Oilers. It could be a critical loss when it's all said and done.
Wow. So then you're leaving open the possibility that they could even lose this series. That's interesting. They've outscored the Stars 13-2 since they lost Game 1. It appears to have been lopsided. Maybe this changes things, but to this point, why has it been so lopsided?
Well, the Edmonton Oilers' best players have been the best players in the series. Not the best players on their team, the best players in the series. That's a problem for Dallas. Dallas, you can put all the X's and O's as you want together, but you bet when the bright lights come on, ESPN, we spend all this money on marketing about how big the moment is. The players got to get the memo. I don't know. Rantanen's got to show up tonight. Rope Hintz has to have an impact. Heiskanen has to have an impact. He's got his feet wet now. I know he's been injured for a long time. Jamie Benn has to have an impact. We have to see him out there tonight. All those players, your season's on the line. You're against the league's best player. And right now, a team that's trying to get back to the Stanley Cup again, they're going to need their best players to be their best players tonight. They have not been good enough. They haven't played to their strengths. They haven't been willing to go to the dirty areas enough and do that consistently. You got to grind Edmonton down. They haven't done that job this series.
All right, before we let you
Wilbon
go, we're going
has
to
a
go
special
off-road a
question.
little bit. I know you're going to be keeping one eye on Game 5 in Madison Square Garden tonight. Who you got? The Knicks extending this thing or the Pacers ending it?
Listen to me right now. I got Knicks. I've been saying Knicks in 6. I got the Knicks winning tonight. Definitely. I think this is time. Their big players got to show up. I don't like Indiana. I don't like the look of their team. I don't like the smell of their players when I walk by in the Garden. I'm a Knicks. Listen to me. Knicks, let's go. Jim Dolan, the whole crew, buckle up and strap in. It'll be rocking tonight. I got the Knicks winning tonight. Let's go.
There we go.
Thank you, PK.
PK, thank
right.
you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
You can catch more PK tonight during the game and starting with the point at 7:30 Eastern. Wilbon, of course, thinks he'll only have one eye on his actual job, but I don't think so. I think he'll have both. Let's take one last break. Still to come. The president of the NCAA indicates that the expansion of March Madness is a top priority.
Oh, God,
that's dumb.
please. Joe Flacco explains his issue with mentoring the Browns' 2 rookie quarterbacks. Is Joe Flacco still in the league, or is he in some AARP location, undisclosed?
He's not only still in the league, he's actually effective. He's actually effective. Happy time, people. Happy 23rd birthday, Paul Skeens. The overall #1 pick in the 2023 baseball draft out of national champion LSU was a huge and immediate success last year with the Pirates. Skeens started the All-Star game, was National League Rookie of the Year. He was 11-3 with a 1.96 ERA, 170 strikeouts, and 133 innings. This season, Skeens is just 4-5, but he pitched 6 2/3 scoreless last night and he won. His ERA is 2.15, and he routinely throws pitches 100 miles an hour. Skeens recently pitched that rare complete game, but it was 8 innings because it was a 1-0 loss. Pittsburgh is a perpetually bad team. You wonder how long Skeens will be happy there or if he will want to leave.
You think he's going to be on the Barry Bonds plan? That he's going to be out of there sometime soon and have the greatest years of his career somewhere else? That would be kind of sad for Pittsburgh. They're great sports fans there. I'd be sad to see that.
Happy anniversary, Larry Bird. On this day 45 years ago, the Celtics superstar won the NBA's Rookie of the Year award after averaging 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Bird beat out his great rival Magic Johnson, who went 18-7-8. Magic, of course, got the last laugh by winning the NBA title over Philly, just as his Michigan State team had beaten Bird's Indiana State team for the NCAA championship the year before. Bird's presence on the Celtics helped them go from 29 wins to 61 wins. And this was before, Mike, before Parrish and McHale got to Boston.
Yeah.
We will watch now to see if Cooper Flagg, a similar kind of player to Bird, will improve Dallas like that.
Cornbread, Maxwell, Tiny, Archibald, even Dave Cowens was on that team. Tony, if that is true, if Cooper Flagg can do that, then the Dallas Mavericks will indeed get over the loss of Luka Doncic. If he's that good, and he's playing with guys who can play. You know, especially if they get Kyrie back and Anthony Davis is out there 70 games or so, then that the cupboard ain't bare in Dallas. But if they do that, leave Nico alone. Free Nico.
Well, Nico didn't have much to do with the ping pong balls. Come on now. No. Happy trails to active mentoring for Joe Flacco. Flacco finds himself competing with rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, along with fourth-year man Kenny Pickett for the Browns starting quarterback job. But the 40-year-old veteran says he prioritizes his own performance, telling reporters, quote, "If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, I look like an idiot that doesn't care about being good and playing football. The best way to be a mentor, honestly, is to show people how you go to work."
Well, the question is, they're going to need him. Are they going to need him this year? Or one of the young bucks going to win that position? How soon do we see Shedeur Sanders under center? That's what most of us care about. No disrespect to Mr. Flacco, who's had a distinguished career.
He has. He's won the Super Bowl. Let's go to the
Yes,
big
he
finish.
has.
NCAA President Charlie Baker says one of his top priorities is to expand March Madness. Your reaction?
No, leave March Madness alone. Don't people ever just see something that's a masterpiece and not mess with it? The Washington Capitals say they mistakenly emailed season ticket holders calling next season Alex Ovechkin's last. Your thoughts, Mr. DC?
My thoughts are they did it deliberately to scare people into buying tickets for this year. Of course they did. The Rockies have lost 5 straight. They're now 9-47. How do you feel about that?
Well, the last 3 of those came in Wrigley Field. They were not beatdowns like they should have been. Worries me about the Cubs' bats, but I'm fine with their last 3 losses. Longtime Patriots center David Andrews is calling it a career. How are you going to remember it?
He was undrafted. He got to play and win 2 Super Bowls. He got to snap to Tom Brady, which is, I'm sure, was a lot more fun than the last few years. He had a great career. Last one, Novak Djokovic advanced to the 3rd round in straight sets despite a blister on his left big toe. I'll bet you're impressed.
Oh, yeah. And Sinners, Zverev, Coco Gauff, Keys, Pegula, they all advanced too. Impressed with all of it. Glad they're in the field still.
We're out of time. Try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the app or Apple Podcasts. Time to go to the Garden, Tony.
Yeah, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. The atmosphere will be great. I'm
Still
sure.
in sight.